Hey guys, what's up? My name's the Cool Mike and welcome back with another video. But today I will not be playing a video game, but rather I'll be talking about my wisdom tooth experience. Now this is or should I say my wisdom tooth removal or extraction experience. This is something that I don't really see on YouTube very often. I've seen people vlog about what happens but not talk about it. So I decided why not create something about my experience, because my experience was was challenging to say the least. So this is basically, from the title and thumbnail, this is me talking about a quick, as much as I can, the quickest video I can make to talk about my wisdom tooth experience. Now, I'm actually older than what people normally are when they have their wisdom tooth removed. Some people remove their wisdom tooth around, I would say, around late 20s. I'm actually in my early 30s now, so it's actually way past that. But oddly enough, this happened on the third week of January. Technically, I got my wisdom tooth removed on January 21st. So it's currently May, so it's been months now. So I have fully recovered and hopefully don't get to experience that again, because it was challenging. Like I said, to be honest, it was more of a nightmare for me. So technically, I didn't even know that, I'm aware about wisdom tooth removal. But for some people there are people out there that didn't get their wisdom tooth removed, because not all the time that the wisdom tooth is gonna cause problems unless it is hitting another tooth, which is random for most people. Some people have that experience when they have it removed because it was hitting a tooth. Some people just want it to be removed just to deal with it and just to get over it. And some people just didn't bother because it didn't really cause problems. At least that's what I thought, because like I said, I'm in my early 30s. Normally, wisdom tooth problems occur in late 20s. But that's just me, because for some people they told me that it was already too late for me, considering I'm already in my 30s and I still have my wisdom tooth, which is not very common, I guess. At least for some people, that's what they think. Now, I wouldn't know for experience, because like I said, this is my first time that I have my wisdom tooth removed. So this happened around the beginning of the year, the beginning of 2025. It was one hell to welcome 2025. And it happened one night while I was sleeping. I suddenly woke up because I was suffering heavy muscle pain at the right side of my cheek, as if someone was just pushing something on my jaw. And it was, at first I thought it was just jaw lock at first, or muscle spasm. I didn't know, because I didn't know it was involving wisdom tooth, because I was new to it. So it was so painful, and it happened for at least an hour. I couldn't sleep, and I was just in so much pain. I literally had to go downstairs, drink a pain reliever medicine, then go try to see if I could go back to sleep. Which luckily the pain stopped, and I didn't think about it. And then a few days passed, and I started noticing that the pain came back, except it was twice as worse. And then I knew something was wrong already by the time that it was happening. And then all of a sudden, I guess the second week of January, it wasn't just causing pain. Half of my head was in so much pain that I believe that the wisdom tooth was hitting a nerve, that a portion of my brain, my right side of my brain, was aching like a migraine. Like, it wasn't a headache, it was a migraine. It was so severe that it felt like someone or something was drilling inside my brain, as if someone grabbed a needle and just decided to poke my brain with it. And it wasn't just like a throbbing pain, it was like a sharp pain going in and then fading out, and then going in again and fading out. It was so painful that I was at work and I was just so much pain that I was frowning, and no one could dare approach me because of how much frowning I was making. When I was going home, it was so the migraine was so painful that I was about to faint while commuting to work. I was about to pass out in the sidewalk on the bus stop, waiting for the bus to go home, and this was as late as around, I don't know, 6 in the evening, more or less 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening, and my commute was more or less 2 to 3 hours away from work to home. So I had to commute for 2 to 3 hours, and it was already 7 in the evening, 6 to 7 in the evening. I was literally passing out. Like, everything was so blurry, and my you know the feeling when you're underwater, when everyone's voices started becoming mumble, as if suddenly muffled, like you're underwater. That's what I was feeling, and everything was bright. I knew I was gonna pass out, so I needed to sit down, which I did. I managed to find a bench, just plump there, and then I vomit. I knew I was vomiting because I could already feel it in my step. The migraine was so painful that not only was I having severe migraine from it, the experience was so painful that I wasn't just having severe migraine from it, but I was about to pass out, and basically I vomited. I tried to swallow my vomit. I technically did. It was so blurry. I didn't even know what happened in that experience because everything was just happening so quick. I didn't have the time and the strength to process what was going on because I was so tired from work. My head was so painful. My brain was so painful from the migraine, and I was just exhausted. I just want to go home, pass out, and sleep, technically, because I needed to wake up the following day for work again. But no, it was just an experience. So I decided I needed to sit down and close my eyes, put my head in my bag, just 1 sec, and I vomited. It wasn't vomit like full-on vomit. I literally just vomit a little. I mean, I'm not even sure what a little is at this point, but I needed to sit down, wait it out, hopefully that the migraine fades enough to give me enough time to stand up and then go to the bus. I didn't even care if people saw me because there were more than 100 people there with me lining up to go to the bus, but I was just in so much pain that I couldn't care less. I just wanted to be over at this point. So I tried calling my dad, but my dad couldn't pick me up because it was a 3-hour commute, so there was no point. But I don't know if I could even go home at that point by myself because of how much pain I was suffering. So he decided that rather than that, he would pick me up about 20 minutes away from home. There is a bus stop there. So rather than, because I needed to ride 2 transportation vehicles, I needed to ride a bus and then another bus to go home. But rather than that, I would just ride 1 bus. And then basically, my dad would pick me up at that bus stop about more or less 20 minutes from home, which is not very far. But still, it's progress. Because I don't even know if I could walk at that point. But I did try, so I waited for a few moments. I stand up, and just as I about to enter the bus, it happened again. The migraine happened again, and it was just exhausting. I knew I was gonna pass out. So I find the nearest seat I could find. Luckily, there was a spare seat in the very front of the bus. I turn, sit, and then plummet. The one next to me, which was somewhere in her 30s, late 30s, probably early 40s, was a woman, probably also going home from work, noticed my, what you call that, something was wrong and that I wasn't feeling well. Her question was if I was okay. I literally told her what I was feeling because I didn't even know it was a wisdom tooth. I just told her I have a severe migraine and that I was having a headache, a headache at that point. So what you call, she gave me one of those what you call motion sickness stick. It's like what you call, it's like a lip gloss, but rather than for the lips, it's basically for your head, and you get to, it's like basically menthol. So basically you could smell it, sniff it, to give you, to make you relax, and you could rub it in your head and it would have this warm sensation. So it's basically like menthol. It's like a lip gloss but for migraine. I don't know what's the English term for it, to be fair. I really don't know, but it's like an efficacent oil, something like that. But yeah, it's as this menthol what you call sensation to it. And of course I had to use it. I had to rub it in my head, and it helped a little but not much. And then of course I had to ask for a bag, a plastic bag, so if I vomit again I would be prepared, because vomiting in the bus is probably not gonna end well and people are not gonna enjoy it. But I have to be honest, because I was not feeling well, so I knew something was already wrong. And then obviously that week I had to excuse myself from work. My dad had to take me to the dentist. The very next day, my dad had to take me to the dentist, and it was an urgent what you call scheduling. I couldn't even eat at that point because it was so much pain that I just wanted it to stop and just go to bed and sleep. The very next day, we went to the dentist, and to my surprise, I mean, I knew something was already wrong, but to my surprise, it was technically the wisdom tooth, and it was hitting one of my tooth, probably one of my nerves, that is causing the severe migraine. So this is the X-ray that my dentist provided us with me and my dad, which is a problem. So it had to be removed, otherwise it would damage the other tooth. So that's the X-ray. So here's the thing. The good news is what you call, technically there's no good news about it. We have to spend around more than $200 to have it removed. That's the fee for the dentist, and it was not cheap. It was expensive as hell. But the worst part was what you call anesthesia. According to the dentist, anesthesia may not be enough to, for the process of my wisdom tooth extraction. It turns out that not only that it was hitting one of my tooth, the wisdom tooth was so deep, it was so deep in my jaw that it was also covered by a bone, probably my jawbone, probably my lower jawbone. So it was so deep. So it was like more or less more than 2 inches deep. So it was more than 2 inches deep. So it was probably at the very low point of my jaw. And it was also covered by a bone. So they have not only have to drill to my skin, they also have to remove a portion of my bone, my jawbone, and to remove the said tooth. And it was a big tooth. Probably, I don't know how big it is, probably more or less bigger than an inch, but it was big according to the dentist. So, and not only was it deep, it was also big. So removing it in one time was not possible. So the advice of the dentist was they have to cut the tooth as they remove it, bit by bit, piece by piece, and then remove it hopefully that way, which is gonna be painful because the nerve that is connected to my to my face, to my jaw, where the wisdom tooth is attached, is gonna be the painful part. So that's the problem. Another problem was because anesthesia wasn't gonna be enough, they have to sedate me. That's what the dentist said. They have to sedate me, which means they have to surgically, quote unquote, surgically remove the tooth by putting me to sleep so I would not feel the pain of the extraction and then have my tooth removed. So technically, that's what's gonna happen, and that's gonna be the cost of that, considering the normal tooth extraction was already around $200. The cost of that is gonna be twice as much. Plus, of course, because they have to sedate me, they have to put me to sleep, they have to inject medicine, probably dextrose medicine to me, which is my biggest fear, dextrose, on my nerves, on my veins, and put what you call sedatives, or basically something to put me to sleep, and then have the removal process of my tooth. So they have to make sure that my body can handle the medicine. So I need permission from a hospital, then pay the one, then because of the additional fees, because someone was gonna be administrating the medicine to sedate me. So that's gonna be another doctor, not the dentist, and then the dentist will be doing the removal part. So it's a process. And I was like, I don't want to wait another week because of what happened last night, because this happened last night. The part where I almost passed out happened last night, and this was the next day. And I was like, I know this has to be gone by now. This has to be removed by now. So of course, they have to make me that same week I had it removed. And according to the dentist, it would only take at least more or less 1 hour to an hour and a half, 1 hour and 30 minutes to have it removed. It took more than that. As a matter of fact, it took twice as long. It was like 2 to 3 hours. The wisdom tooth removal should not take that long, but it was so hard for the dentist that I was conscious. I was awake when it was happening, so it was painful. At first, I didn't feel anything. For the first 30 minutes or so, or an hour or so, I did not feel anything because the anesthesia was working. But they can only put it at the top of my jaw. The deeper they get, there was the part that the anesthesia was not able to reach. So they have to apply and apply every time they go deeper and deeper, so that a new set of layer of anesthesia would take effect as they're doing the process. And it took 3 hours. They have to drill to my jawbone, remove my jawbone, a part of my jawbone, to have my tooth extract. Because it was so big, they had to cut the teeth in tiny pieces. At first it wasn't painful, but I could feel the tug. The painful part was when they had to remove the part where there was a nerve attached to the wisdom tooth. Every time they pull it out, it felt like my soul was moving away from my body. It was so painful. I was basically growling in pain, and the dentist was just apologetic because there was nothing they can do. The anesthesia wasn't working because this time it was now the nerve, the bottom part of the wisdom tooth. And then after 20 or so minutes of me just growling in pain, the process was over. After that, I couldn't stand up. I was so exhausted. It felt like my entire body was so limp that I had to sit there and think about my life choices for the next hour or so. I actually told the dentist that maybe if I could just rest for an hour, enough to gain my senses and my strength. And of course, she was understandable because she knew how painful it was. There was two assistants with her when during the process. It wasn't just the dentist, but it was so it was just so the pain was so excruciating, or was so exhausting. It was so painful. That's the best way I can describe it. And not only because the teeth was big, it was so deep in my jaw that people normally have to be sedated with this type of removal or extraction. But I just went with it, and I was just, screw it, let's get it done. And it got done. But my god, it was so painful. So this is the before picture, the x-ray that the dentist have shown me, or the dentist have shown us, me and my father. And then this is the after. So now it has been removed, and this is me. Technically, what you call minutes, more or less a minute. They have to give me an ice pack enough for the what you call for the wound to heal. Of course, they have to sew it back on, and of course they have to what you call remove the stitches a week after what you call a week after the what you call my wound, my jaw heals up from the from the extraction, from the wisdom tooth extraction. So it took another week. So technically I took more or less more than a week off from work, so just to have my wisdom tooth removed. And then the next 5 days was just me resting, because it was coming to the point that I had to drink pain reliever pills so that I would not feel the pain of my jaw. The recovery was less of a hassle, was not as painful. The removal part, the process where my wisdom tooth got removed or extracted, was the painful part, to be honest. The healing part wasn't as much of an issue, to be fair. Although I had to be in a strict diet, I could not eat warm or hot foods. I could not eat hard foods as well. So no hot or hard foods. So no candies, no hot soup or anything warm. I can only eat what you call porridge or soup that is cold. And it was weird because normally you want warm soup, but because of the wound of my jaw from the wisdom tooth extraction, they have to put it on the fridge. My parents had to put it on the fridge, put the soup on the fridge, let it warm or let it cool down, and then so I could eat it. It was weird, but I had to do it because that was the advice of the dentist, which I believe you should follow. And then of course I had to drink cold drinks, no coffee, no hot drinks whatsoever. So now I'm feeling better, way better, to be honest, way better. As if I could not even feel anything, but my god, it was an experience. So this was before and this was after the tooth remove. And then of course, if you guys want to see the tooth, I don't have it. They have to throw it away because it was in pieces. And it was like half a dozen pieces because they have to cut it in tiny pieces to have it removed one by one because it was so big. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I could show it on YouTube because of the gore and blood that comes with it. So I have to blur it, but I'm not sure. At this point, I'm not even sure if there's a point of showing you guys the picture because it's just gonna be a blur. But still, here it is. It's the picture. I apologize for the blur, but because it has gore and blood, I would rather not deal with YouTube, what you call YouTube rules right now. So that's the picture. But my god, it was an experience. So yeah, that is my wisdom tooth, what you call extraction experience. Hope you guys enjoyed this short video of me telling you it. telling you guys the experience or this talkative vlog. It's a weird, this is the first time I'm doing something like this where I just talk. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Let me guys know if you had the same experience where your wisdom tooth got removed. Let me guys know in the comments, how did it go? What happened? Was it a nightmare for you guys? And I'll try my best to read it. And yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoy it. Subscribe now to show your support. And as always, I will see you guys next time with another brand new video. This is the Cool Mike signing off. Goodbye.